So, welcome everybody with a new update of our Power BI quarterly feature update. Hi Laura.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very fine.
Yeah?
Yeah,
This is the first time we're doing this in this setup.
yeah, very nice. From a professional studio and professional equipment. So,
Yes, we're on camera.
yeah, this is going to be great. So, all right, should we get started?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. All right, so what are we going to do today? Today, we are going to look at the latest features of Power BI. This is our quarterly update. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about new features that Microsoft has released for Power BI. They always do that in their Power BI blog. You read them as well, I think.
Yes, sparingly. Yeah.
Sparingly. Okay. So that's why we have this service, because we get all those announcements, and the most interesting ones we're going to discuss today. And today we're going to have the update for January of this year, February and March.
I was waiting for this.
Yeah.
I missed everything.
Yeah, that's right, because
Yeah.
you went away for a little while. So we can enlighten you with everything that has happened in the last few months. Okay, so usually each month Power BI or Microsoft releases a big update for Power BI Desktop. Unfortunately, in January they didn't do it. They did do it in February and they did do it in March. So that's mainly what we're going to discuss. Yeah, so I think that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah. They never do it in January, by the way.
No, it's the holiday season. I guess.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's not.
Also, they need a holiday.
Also, they need a holiday, those developers. So that's what we're going to talk about. All right. So it's all being grouped in several topics. So we're going to talk about the data connectivity just a little bit, because data connectivity is more about connectors, third-party connectors, so it's not really interesting.
Yeah, unless you want a list of all the connectors that are added and updated. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not interesting to talk about. And the same goes for visualizations. I mean, it sounds interesting for data visualization tool, but it's actually third-party visualizations.
Usually not the things that you're going to use.
No.
No.
So that's why we're going to just show them quickly and move over to another topics, developers features. What do you think about that?
I use them sometimes, but sometimes it's also, I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. It's a little more technical, so I think for most people it's not that interesting. So if you want to know more about those topics, then just please go over to the blog and read more about it. We have an other bucket with all other features that do not fit in the other categories.
De vergaarbak.
The vergaarbak.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. We have some mobile features, not many this time. I think only one. Features about Power BI service.
Yes, also very interesting. Yeah. Always interesting.
Always interesting. So as you can see, we save the best for last, because after that we have Fabric.
Ooh.
There's some cool stuff to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Modeling, data modeling, DAX, everything you need to know about that. And last but not least, actually reporting. So that's really Power BI Desktop features. Yeah. So, all right, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this. First of all, if you want to enable the preview features in Power BI Desktop, don't forget you have to enable them in the settings menu. So go over to the settings menu, and then you can actually select the features you want to use. Select them, then you have to restart Power BI Desktop, and then you can actually use them. In some cases, but we'll get to that, you need premium subscription, Copilot stuff. So yeah, maybe you're not able to do everything, but most things you can do. So today we have 3 central topics we're going to talk a little bit more about. We're going to talk about Copilot. Everything is about Copilot these days. So Laura, you're going to talk us through Copilot.
Yes. Or I'm not going to live demo it because of several reasons, but I have gone through all the functionalities, and I'm going to report on that in a bit.
Cool, nice. We're also going to talk about another big feature, the visual calculations, that has also been released this quarter. and just a little bit about the DAX query view.
Yeah, I'm also going to talk about that a little bit. Yeah, so then you may have a little understanding what it actually is. Yeah, after this session.
Nice. Yeah. So those are the main topics, but also we're going to talk about the other topics a little bit. All right. So we have the categories, as you can see above here, and I think we can skip over the first few categories very quickly because the data connectivity, as mentioned before, it's all third-party connectors. So it's not that interesting to talk about. If you want to know more about it, of course, you can read the blog on the blog website of Microsoft. The part of the visualizations.
Oh yeah, that's too much to
handle. It's a lot of visualizations. Yeah. It's all third-party visualizations. Interesting if you actually use them. If you don't use them, it's not that interesting. And I think most people here, I don't think they use many of those visualizations.
You ever use third-party visuals in your reports?
I think at some point I used some slicer.
A slicer, yeah. Me too.
Back in the days when the slicer wasn't that advanced.
Yeah.
And what I use is the text search box.
That's actually the two ones that the hierarchy slicer and the
exactly.
And the text.
But that's
text box.
That's Microsoft slicer.
Is it?
The search box. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think I have used third-party visualizations often. So.
No. Yeah.
But there are some nice ones there. So for some reasons, or some cases, they might be interesting to use. All right. Developers. So what's here about developers? So it's really the highlights. It's not everything there is, but we just decided to talk about the highlights a little bit more. This in this case has to do with CI/CD, automation, those kind of things. In this case, it's about Power BI project files.
Okay.
Have you already looked into the project files?
I did, but I'm not really using it at the moment. I find it a little difficult, maybe a bit difficult topic.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing that they make it easier.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have already created the Power BI project files. It's I think a long way to set it up, and it doesn't work. I think entirely smooth with Power BI desktop, Power BI service. So there's some improvements they still have to make.
Not all artifacts are ready to be deployed, right? It doesn't support all Power BI artifacts.
No, I think that's true. So
yeah,
it's really depending on the use case whether you can use it. But it's nice to experiment with it at least. So and that's where they have also released some features. So there's a title flyout. Well, that's actually, I think it's this thing. This is called a flyout. So that's something they.
Is that a flyout?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's the thing they actually.
We learned something new.
Yeah. Not so long ago, they rebranded data models, semantic models. So they have actually, for the continuity, put the term semantic model in every piece of programming they have, and tabular
model definition layer.
Model definition layer.
Is that right?
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's also something they have in preview. So instead of the tabular model scripting language, this is a little bit more user-friendly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So instead of just looking at a big JSON, it actually highlights stuff and puts some hierarchy.
Oh, don't you like looking at a big JSON?
No? Not always.
Okay.
No. So I think this is no, that's a nice little preview. All right. The other category.
The gateways, of course.
The gateway. Yeah, not so interesting.
Everyone needs to update their server.
Just update, stability, that kind of thing. So that's that. Another interesting thing, and I think you've seen it as well, Laura, is new licensing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so from I think next year, May, I think the premium is not going to be continued anymore. It depends really on your enterprise agreement, I believe, but it's going to be Fabric capacities.
Yeah.
So we're all going to buy Fabric reserved capacities, or maybe you want to go for a pay-as-you-go capacity.
That's also an option.
Yeah, that's also an option, but the current Power BI premium capacities are going to be replaced by the Fabric capacities next year, May.
Yeah, I think all new contracts will be Fabric capacity. And contract renewals as well.
But do look at your contract, because Fabric capacities are a little pricier. I think it's maybe the first one is like 4,500 and the other one is 5,000 per month.
Yeah, I think
for P1.
Like 10-20%
more expensive. It's more expensive. Like yeah.
But then you have the ability to use all fabric features if you would like to.
Including Copilot.
Yeah,
and I'm going to tell you something about that pricing as well.
Exciting. All right. That's that. Mobile, not so much on the mobile. You are now able to share your device.
Okay.
So that's interesting for like
factory workers, maybe.
Yeah, maybe factory workers or people outside on the road. They share a device and that you can log in with your own credentials and you can log out, and that has been made easier. So I can imagine some use cases where that's even handy. Do you use?
Never.
Power BI Mobile?
Never.
No, I actually don't know anybody who uses Power BI Mobile.
But I can imagine if you're just like working, I don't know, like in a factory or somewhere in logistics or something, and you have a device and you want to have quick insights, then you're going to use it, right?
Exactly.
But I think for office employees, you're not really going to use maybe the mobile experience of Power BI.
I mean, I prefer looking at a big screen.
No, I'd rather look at my screen.
Again, on the phone again.
Yeah.
All right, so that is that. All right. Power BI Service, as you can see, has a nice feature, and those are more interesting.
Yeah.
If you ask me. First one off is the granular access control for all data connection types. Yeah. You familiar with that?
I'm familiar with it. I find it like a very important feature, actually. Yeah.
All right.
Because now if you want to work on a semantic model, you also actually need to have access to the underlying connection to the data.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I like that. Yeah, that makes sense as well for me.
Yeah. So it's a more fine-grained way of sharing your connection with other people, I guess. Yeah.
And if you don't have access, then your report just breaks. Yeah. Or your data set is disconnected from the connection. So I like that.
That's nice. I just made a little slideshow about how you set that up, just very quickly. So it's just by going through new connection. See, it's in Dutch, not that interesting. This is an example of a Snowflake connection. So you just put it in there, server, warehouse, credentials, and after that you can really assign people here, and you can assign different roles. I'm sorry, it's in Dutch again. So it's a user with again reshare rights and an owner.
Yeah.
So that's where you actually put the users, and once you have published your report to the Power BI service, then you can see it over there with the gateway and cloud connections. And you can just select it if you are authorized.
Yeah.
Of course. And then after that, you can see the connection has been created. So how awesome is that?
Yeah. I think in our organization, sometimes users were already using the gateway connections as some sort of manage your source connections.
Yeah, it works in the same way.
Yeah, it works in the same way. So now I'm really happy that that it's not via the gateway anymore, but it's like a cloud connection now.
Yeah.
A shareable cloud connection.
Yeah, nice feature. Okay. Also some app updates. Do you use app audiences?
I do. Yeah, it's best practice. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Have you ever reached the limit of 10? The previous limit of 10?
No, I cannot imagine who reaches that limit, actually.
I had a customer.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what they were trying to do, but they actually got to the limit. So they asked,
interesting.
Okay, can I only have 10? Yeah, at that point. And then I think 1 week later, and that's a new feature, they have increased the maximum number of audiences to 25. So
wow, it's a lot of maintenance, I would say.
Yep, for sure. So I don't interfere with why the person would need more than 10 audiences, but that's up to him or her. I don't know who that was. So that's interesting. Also, another interesting feature in this little list you see at the right is that you now have custom message handling.
Yeah.
In case you have a person asking to access the app.
Yeah, and this is like one of the best things that I've seen so far, actually, because users are just going to share the app link with another person, and that other person doesn't have access.
Yeah.
So that person gets a prompt to request access.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to manage that access as Power BI admin. I find that very annoying.
Yeah.
You know, and now you just have the pop-up with a custom message. Hey, you should not request access here. You should request it via, I don't know, the IT shop in this group.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. So that's much better. I
Yeah,
think.
like it. Yeah, been looking for it.
Yeah, me as well. So I've been looking. I think I have to first create the app in order to show where it is, because you can actually set it up at the app settings. So let me just quickly put some content in here.
Oh, it's at okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was trying to show.
Oh yeah.
Actually, well, what's happening? Publish app.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the app is published.
Oh, you're gonna have to wait 5 minutes.
Oh, it's quicker than that. It's quicker than that. Then you here have app settings.
Yeah.
It's hidden.
Yeah, I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, exactly. And then here, all the way at the bottom, you can replace your message with an automated message.
Yeah.
So
don't request access. Go to IT shop.
Go to
and request
some store where
to be added to this Active Directory group or something. Yeah.
So that's the whole deal. So it's hidden, as always.
With this is nice.
But it's a nice feature.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Explorer pane also updates. Have you used? Do you know the Explorer pane? I think it.
I think if I see it, it's that thing, right?
It's a little. It's that thing. Okay, that sounds nice. So if you go to your data set, then there's here a button, explore this.
Yeah, it's that thing.
Yeah, and that's the little thing. And
I use that all the time.
Something between like just data exploration and creating a report. Basically, what you do is you create an Excel pivot.
Yeah.
I think it's
nice, but within like a protected environment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Within a protected environment. So that's actually quite useful.
Yeah.
I think, and when you save it, because you can actually visualize it as well in some way, it saves it as a separate file.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a exploration file.
I like this because people, we know that people are just exporting data from reports just to do this kind of things.
Exactly.
And with this functionality, they can just, create their pivot tables or other visualization ad hoc data exploration, so to say, within the Power BI service. I like it.
Yeah, and it's not branded as it's not a report. It's actually branded as a separate thing. So it's.
What is it? Oh, okay,
it's this one, the little binoculars, and that's actually how you can recognize it. So it doesn't create all extra reports just for analysis purposes. It actually has some own features. So. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That is pretty cool. So what you see here is just some updates they did. It's not very spectacular, but it's just something to mention. Another one, direct query connection updates.
Oh yeah, I researched this. Yeah.
You researched it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess you can tell more about it.
Yeah. So okay. So say you have a direct query report with 5 visuals on your report page. Using that same direct query connection to your source. Say that 6 people at the same time open that report page, then that's basically 30 concurrent connections to the direct query source. Yeah. And what this actually means is that you can have a maximum of, for instance, 50 concurrent direct query connections per semantic model. And that's the whole query concurrency thing.
Yeah.
So they increased it now? Oh yeah.
Yeah, they increased it, and in this example, you see for P1 it's 50 concurrent users.
Okay.
And I think the bigger your capacity, the more concurrent users.
Okay. So that basically means that more people can look at your report using a direct query connection at the same time.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Without slowing it down.
Less waiting.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's a nice thing they actually did.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, indeed. Semantic model updates. So Microsoft is trying to push more of the Power BI desktop functionality of data modeling into the service. I mean, we're not there yet, but since a few months you can see that there's a lot more functionality coming to the Power BI service. So before you do that, you actually have to enable that in your workspace settings. So if you go to your workspace
I tend to forget that. Yeah.
you have to use this one. It's here, data model settings. Users can edit data models in the Power BI service. So that's a big thing. I think it works really well in combination with Power BI project files.
Okay.
Because then you can actually have some version control on it. Because if you just do things here now.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Then, oh, it doesn't do it over here. Let me get another work.
Then you can't go back to a different.
You cannot undo it. So that's a little bit annoying.
Yeah. And with Power BI projects, you can just roll back to the previous version. Yeah.
So that's even better. I'm just trying to see if I get it to work here.
Oh no,
that's
always the case.
Annoying. Let me check if I have it in another workspace really quickly. Oh, why isn't it? Oh, maybe my tenant settings have disabled it.
Oh.
Okay, I might get back to that. After you.
Well, that's how we know it's live.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you always see. But to sum it up, what they actually did is that you cannot import your data in the Power BI service, or you can get your data.
That's
you have to do that in Power BI Desktop. But once you have deployed the model from Power BI Desktop to the Power BI service, you are able to create measures, to create columns, to create new tables. Use row level security, and as you can see in this this overview here, it can now auto detect relationships.
Okay.
You can create calculation groups in the Power BI service, the model explorer in the Power BI service, including direct lake models. This is the overview. Row level security, you can sort by column. So sort by column is, you have like the months January, February, April, March. You can actually sort it by month number, so that if you have a drop
so the months are not presented in alphabetical order.
Like it doesn't start with April, August, etc. So that's always a nice thing. All right, so those are the updates for the service. Cool. Then let's head to Fabric.
Oh.
And I mean, it's the Power BI update, but some Fabric features, I mean, next to the Power BI blog, there's also a whole Fabric blog post.
Yeah.
So if you're into Fabric, you should go over there, because there's a lot more, but that has everything to do about the complete Fabric product. So we try to keep it down a little bit here.
And also because we don't understand half of the things.
Half of the things is quite complex. So that's why we try to stay with our Power BI.
Yes.
But what is part of Fabric is Copilot.
Copilot.
Go.
Is it Go? Is it no pilot?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm very curious. So
I
think I'm gonna give over the mouse to you for a little bit something you prepared in order to show what the power is of Copilot.
Okay. Yeah. So I did a little bit of a it was actually quite an extended project, really. I just wanted to try it out. I thought it was easier to use.
Okay, because there's a lot of fuss about it. If you hear people from Microsoft, they're always like, "Oh, everything is Copilot. It's easy."
Yeah. And I'm just thinking, why? This is it. There we go. This is the demo. Copilot for Power BI, something that is long anticipated. It's not a live demo, and that is for two reasons, actually, because Copilot is available only for P1 premium capacities or F64 Fabric capacities. I don't have them laying around, but luckily one of our customers has. But to avoid sensitive data from appearing on the screen, I've created presentation instead of a live demo. And it's also good because Copilot is actually not very reliable in performance in this stage, because it's still in public preview. So there are a few functionalities that you can assess for Copilot in Power BI. These are the ones, and we are going to go through. Can you see it?
Yeah, considerations.
No.
Oh, options.
We're going to go through everything that is in bold. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it does sound a little bit more than it actually is. Okay, there are some considerations before using Copilot. So Copilot needs to be enabled by your tenant admin. And right now I am looking at something for my own tenant. I've enabled it for the entire organization, and I'm going to give some recommendations not to do this actually at the end of the presentation
okay.
for several reasons.
Interesting.
Like I said, you need at least an F64 or P1 capacity. You need to look at your authorizations on the workspace. So for some, you minimally need to be a contributor on a Fabric or Premium workspace. And for some functionalities, the viewer role is actually enough. Yeah, and I will mention. Really? Yeah, I will mention which one.
Cool.
And really, it's in public preview, so it is quite. It is buggy. Okay, so what am I going to do for this demo? I'm using the CBS housing data, statistics about housing satisfaction, rental prices, dwellings per Dutch region. I've ingested that in my lakehouse in Fabric, and all to answer the question, where does Laura actually want to live? Yeah. And I hope that Copilot can tell me at the end of the demo. So I've created a data set, my housing data. And if I go to the data set, I can go to that Explorer pane that we talked about, and I can create a blank report. And if Copilot is enabled for me, I can see like this icon in the top ribbon, and then I open my Copilot pane. And, the first try, it suggested content for me. So regional satisfaction analysis, that's a page. Let's go for it.
Oh, wow, that's impressive.
Okay, so this is actually my fault. As you know, the model developer knows I have not determined relationships in my model. But this is just to show that modeling is very important. So I'm going to fix that, and I'm going to go for a second try. I'm going to, create relationships between my entities. I've done it.
I like the colors, though.
Second try.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So what does this actually say? So, the number of regions.
The number of regions.
The number of periods. And it doesn't recognize year as a year, so to say. It doesn't, it doesn't know that region, like counting the region is not an interesting statistic.
No.
It just doesn't, it's not really aware of, the actual value, the valuable things that you can get out of a data set. But that's also my fault because I haven't determined that in my data set. Another one, it's just not valuable. It's not valuable insight. So apparently I need to improve my model and do some model updates. And luckily, Microsoft has some documentations about this, about how to prepare your semantic model to work best with Copilot for Power BI. And this includes, for instance, if you have a region, you need to make sure that it's really of a geography type. If you have a date, it should be like a date type. But also, for instance, if you don't have like relevant measures, it's not going to magically, create some measures in your report. So you have to define that yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is I've created a connection to my lakehouse, right? Okay. Because I want to create this in Power BI Desktop. I want to create my measures in Power BI Desktop because in Power BI Desktop I have DAX query view, and that is Copilot improved or enhanced or whatever. Yeah. So like I want to create actually my measures with that Copilot for DAX query view. So what am I going to do is I'm going to create a connection with my Fabric Lakehouse where all my data is hosted. In the Power BI Desktop, I also need to specify which Fabric-enabled workspace I'm going to use. So this is my Copilot testing workspace because, someone needs to pay for it, of course. And now I can actually start creating my measures in DAX query view. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to be very specific. I want to see, for instance, the cost of living per region in 2024. And then I can run that statement, the DAX statement, and it shows me the results in the result overview. So I can just check my data and check my measure actually. And I can also, for instance, if I define my measure in the DAX query view, there is an option to like sort of import that measure into your model directly. So I just, I just click on that, and then my measure is created. Yeah, floop. So this is a little bit how I created my measures, but it's not optimal. You need to check your DAX, and if you're going to create a complicated DAX in Copilot with Copilot, they also, if something is not right in that complicated DAX, then you also need to have the knowledge to fix it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's what we try to avoid.
Yeah. So I'm not very familiar with DAX, so I've created very simple DAX with Copilot.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so I've created my measures. Now I'm just actually going to try to make some insights in Power BI Desktop. Actually,
all right, yeah.
A report page in Power BI Desktop. So I specified what I wanted to see. Looks better.
Looks better.
It does look better. Yeah.
You know about content?
Yeah. So
okay.
It is okay. This is something I can work with, right? Sometimes it's a little busy. Like it doesn't really adhere to the visualization best practices, I think. But it is an improvement in my view.
Yeah.
So modified it a little bit, and I thought, okay, this is something that I would put in my report, really, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, so it worked. I fixed my model. I created some measures, and now I created a report page. And after some modification, it's usable.
Yeah.
Well, what else can be done then? You can create a narrative visual with Copilot, and I really like this actually. So this is basically a visual, and you say this is for instance for your report page, just make a summary of everything that's in there. And it creates a visual that you can put in your report. And I actually really like this. Yeah. And what's in there is some information that I would not have been able to gather just visually,
Yeah. So more context about the visualizations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. I think that's something people ask for.
Yeah, right? And also, this is, for instance, for a report page, but you can also do it for the entire report. Oh. And I don't know if you see it, but I want to point to something interesting. So maybe the people outside, people online can see it. I can't really see it, but it really says breakdown by type of dwelling reveals that eensgezinswoning or single family homes. How does it know that eensgezinswoning, which is actually, a field in my data model, how does it know that it is a single family home? So we were promised that it would only read the metadata of the columns, but it does read the actual values.
Because it translated it.
Because it translates it.
But maybe does it locally?
I don't know. I don't know. This is what I found interesting. How does it know that eensgezinswoning is a single family home?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's nowhere in your data.
And it's nowhere in my data that it's a single family home. It's eensgezinswoning.
Yeah, it's Dutch data set.
Yeah. Oh. So type, column type, the column is named type, and then below eensgezinswoning of meergezinswoning. But it knows what it is. This is interesting for me.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Ok, Mila. Ok, Mila, ¿quieres conversar contigo? Ficas cá dentro.
Oh, yes. Are we going to mute someone? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I've created now my report with everything. I've created my summary and everything. And now I'm going to publish this to the Power BI service. And now my viewers, for instance, can also do something with Copilot. Oh. They can go to the report, and then they can get a sort of report summary. So you can just, it suggests, some options. And then you can get, for instance, a bulleted list of everything that's in the report. Or you can just say, I want an entire summary of this report.
Yeah.
And then it's just summarizing all the insights of the report. Yeah.
Okay.
I find this interesting. Yeah. So this is actually what we've done. There's one more important consideration that I need to point at, because this all sounds too good to be true, and it is actually.
Oh. Yeah.
Because one important consideration is that Copilot is expensive in terms of cost and capacity utilization. I'm an admin of this capacity.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm an admin of this capacity, so I can see the details. I can see the details of what it uses. So in one day, you see that I actually, you spend quite much capacity. This is like really big data sets don't use that much CU in seconds. So what actually cost my demo? So this is the price for 1 CU hour on an F64. This is the number of CUs in seconds that I've used. So 275,000.
Seconds?
Yeah, seconds. So I'm going to convert that to hours. So that's 76 CU hour. And I'm going to multiply that with the cost of 1 CU per hour.
Oh.
So this whole endeavor cost me almost 14 euros. I find that expensive.
Because how long were you working on this?
A day.
Okay. So
yeah. And just to give like a reference, I'm refreshing a very large data model daily, and it doesn't even come near to that price. So like, this is what I'm saying. Consider this before you enable it, because it is quite expensive, really.
Yeah, because you're one user doing this.
I'm just one user in one day.
Whole organization using this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my findings. It's exactly what it says. It's a Copilot, but I still did most of the work.
That's what I was waiting for this to say, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm the pilot. He is actually the Copilot. It's nice if you want to have a report template. Data modeling remains important. Without a data model.
Trash in, trash out.
Right. Yeah. Think about metadata, definitions, data types, column headers, everything. It's so important, because otherwise Copilot doesn't understand what you're doing. Yeah. Query view is useful, but difficult docs requires good DAX knowledge.
Yeah.
Narrative summary is the most insightful, I think.
Yeah, that looked very nice.
Yeah. It's able to translate field values. Interesting. It's resource expensive and involves high costs.
Yeah.
And I feel like there should be a distinction between the different operations in the Fabric capacity monitoring, because I actually want to know what costs so much.
Yeah, you want to see it
split
out by.
Exactly. What feature in Fabric in Copilot is actually? I think it's the DAX query view, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But what costs so much?
Yeah.
And I would not enable it for now for the whole organizations, because it is actually very costly. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is my very long demo, but I hope
very insightful.
I hope that people found it interesting. I was surprised by a lot of things. So
yeah, I can imagine. And okay, so it's really for experimenting, I guess.
Yeah. And you need to have don't go for a pay-as-you-go capacity to do the testing.
No, it's going to be very expensive.
Yeah, go for a reserved capacity. Yeah. You already paid for it then.
Yeah, because it was funny to see. It's called Copilot, but first you have to go through a whole page of instructions of Microsoft, and then you have to do this and that. And well, after half a day of work, then the Copilot can actually help you. So who's helping who in this whole story? So, okay.
Yeah, and bottom line, I still don't know where to live. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the end, that's what you want to know.
I spent my time and 30 euros.
Yeah, and nobody tell you. Well, don't move yet. Okay.
No, but it's interesting, and it's in development, and everything will be optimized.
I think your recommendation speaks for itself. So don't enable it for
not just
maybe just some test users. But, okay, that's a good finding.
Yeah.
Nice. This was very insightful.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Nice. So that covers the whole Copilot part, I guess.
Well, we're at the end of the session now.
There's no time anymore. No, we still have some time, and we still have some features we're gonna go over. So let's check. Can you see my screen? Nope.
Nope.
Oh, do it again. All right.
Yes.
All right. So that covers the whole Fabric and Copilot stuff. Interesting. Yeah. Again, I'm really speechless. It's
Speechless.
yeah. All right, but we have to move on. More feature updates. Database mirroring.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
heard about it?
I did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think about it?
If you're not sure if you want to have your data hosted in Fabric, then I think it's a good option.
Yeah.
It doesn't get the data in Fabric, right? It's just no.
Yeah,
What is it?
does get it into Fabric.
It does.
Yeah, I think it does.
Okay.
Especially when, because it's not only for Azure, but it's also for Snowflake, AWS. They can also mirror it. So at some point, it is there in Fabric.
Okay. So what does it actually do then?
Well, it actually it makes it easier for your security.
Okay.
So instead of choosing direct query or import mode, you have the direct lake mode. So everything from there on, whether you combine it with SharePoint or other sources, the security layer is all on top of that mirroring part. So you have it all on the Microsoft layer. Yeah.
And so if you have, for instance, changes in your Azure database, then it also reflects in Fabric.
Yeah.
Okay.
It promises to have it, I think, near real time into Fabric.
Oh, so you don't need to copy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So that's because instead of every report, copying from A to B, it's there, and it just with the metadata, it make sure you can see the data. But I think there's also some pitfalls. I saw a discussion on LinkedIn yesterday about hidden cost about it, and it actually does. So there's some details about whether this is a good idea or not. But it's there, and it's for free. They offer it for free, so even for AWS and they promise you can use it for free. But I think
but you're probably going to pay for extra storage. In
that's
Fabric.
Probably where the how do you say it? Where it gets a little tricky. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure whether to use it, but all right. Then we go over to modeling. And modeling, there's also part of Copilot, but I think you've covered it as well. Although measure descriptions.
No. It's broken out of. It's not there anymore.
I tried it this morning, and now it's gone, because what you can do with measure description, and it worked really well, is that if you have a table and you want to enter a description, like for the category, for instance, it used to have a button that says Copilot create description, and when you press the button, it actually creates a description. And I tried it this morning, and it really creates quite okay descriptions. So it was quite nice, but it has disappeared for some reason. I'm not sure.
And this is not like a previous version or something.
No, it's the same file. I mean, I have the Copilot here, so
it's super weird.
Yeah, I have no idea why that is disappeared. I wanted to show, but unfortunately, I can't. So that's a nice feature. I think that's something that Copilot can really help. I mean, documenting like descriptions is really boring, and it's nice that
documenting is
they can
boring.
do it. Yeah. It would be nice if they would actually do it the other way around as well. So I give a description, and then it creates
a document.
Then it creates new values, but
Well, I heard that they're working on that.
They work.
That little thing called Copilot.
What's that about? Okay, so that's the measure descriptions. DAX query view, that's something I want to talk quickly about it. The DAX query view has been released, I think, end of last year. And it's actually that little button you see here, or you also shown something about it. The DAX query viewer, let me just show me here. There's some documentation on the Microsoft side about what it does, and it's actually a better way for creating measures, how do you say it, managing measures and updating measures and those kind of things. You don't have to do it all in the little frame at the top of your page. But you can actually do it here. So if you go here to the DAX query view, you have the opportunity to use some DAX. So the most simple one is just evaluate something, So when you evaluate something, you just see that data. So that's interesting. If you're not really into DAX, you find it hard to use, you can also use some automated functions for that. Like if I have, for example, my sample financials database, I go to quick queries. So it actually creates the top 100 rows for me. So it just puts it here, and then you see the top 100 rows. So you don't have to program it yourself. You can see column statistics. That's also interesting. So what kind of columns, count of rows, distinct values, those kind of things.
You don't need to go to like that column distribution kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly, in the Power Query. So it's a little bit easier to get that information. So if you're looking for some way to document this kind of things, that's the way.
Yeah.
You can also, and I saw you do that as well, like define measures. So this is the definition of the measures, and you can change them as well. So for example, what you can see here is if you define it, you can make some updates on those measures. So that's quite nice. And one of the other things which is interesting are the DAX info functions. And the DAX info function is a whole list of functions you can actually use in order to get information about your model or your project or things like that. For example, you can have something about your relationships, about your tables, about, well, a lot of things, partitions if you have those. So that's something you can get from here. So just put the evaluate, the info, the measure. So that gives you a list of all your measures. Oh, help. So there it is. These are all the measures in my model. So again, if you want to document stuff, these info DAX functions can really help you out. Cool. You can also use joins, so you can combine these kinds of information.
Yeah.
And in this quarter, Microsoft has actually released a few more of those info functions. Like, for example, you can get a list of the functions, but also you can get a list of the change properties. So that's also, interesting information. And I think the DAX Query View, it works really well. It's very nice. I think you just have to take some time in order to get how it works and what it really does. But
I found that out yesterday. Yeah,
exactly. So that's interesting. And another thing which is interesting is that you can also use the Copilot, and I think you did that as well a little bit. So I can even use it to create a table. So create a date table with year, month, day name, year, month, ISO week even.
That's so cool.
Takes a few seconds.
Yep. This costs €1, as you know.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so I spent quite a few euros last couple of days.
Yeah, we're Dutch. We're considerate of money.
Yeah, money is very important for us. So, I like to keep it, and I run it, and there I have my little date table.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's quite interesting, especially with ISO weeks and stuff. That's always very difficult.
Yeah, that is difficult.
Yeah, so that's interesting. What it does not do is, for example, if you have like a city table and you want to, how do you say it, enrich it with extra metadata, it doesn't do that.
Okay.
It can
so for instance, I have a city table, but I want the coordinates of the city.
It does not do that.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Or postal codes or something like that. It says, okay, I cannot get stuff from the internet
to
enrich that data. So that that's a little pity. But all right. So that's for the DAX Query View. Because it actually it released some new functions, Boolean values, the true/false values. You can actually see correctly now. You can reorganize those tabs. It's not very important. There's a feedback link as well. So if you have any feedback about it, you can just go there and give your feedback. I don't know if it's very interesting, but you can help them out by improving the product. And write the queries with Copilot. And that brings us to the last category. I see we have only 8 minutes. So this is really about Power BI Desktop. And although they had a release in February and March, I think it was very thin. I mean, not very cool desktop improvements. So there's something about, and I just want to show you just a little bit about like layout for column bars and those kind of things. So for example, if you have a column chart here, what you now can do, and I think that is pretty interesting is that you can actually create an overlap between the bars. So, for example, if you have these bars, this is last year and year to date. You can actually say, okay, like year to date is has the color black, and I want last year to be a little bit gray. So you can now create some overlap with it. So I have to go back here, layout. And with this feature overlap, you can actually put them a little bit behind each other, so that you can really see how I'm performing this year compared to last year. So that's a feature that has been requested, and well, it's here. So that is very interesting. There's a lot of other minor things, but I'm not going to show it now because that takes too much time for now, because there's something I do want to actually elaborate a little bit more on, which is, first of all, mobile layout. This is kind of cool. It auto creates a report now for you.
For all the reports that we create for mobile.
Yeah, for mobile. So if I have this and I go here to the mobile pane, I just say auto create it, and then it auto creates it. So you don't have to drag and drop all these things here.
That's nice.
It's nice, but it's not very big. I mean, nobody uses it, I guess. So why do we need it? The last interesting feature, and we started off with this already, is the visual calculations.
Yes, I was waiting for this.
Yeah, exactly. So visual calculations is something which should make working with DAX easier for business users, especially. So normally when you have to, you want to calculate something, you create a measure. And measures, we all know, is hard.
Yes.
I mean, we can
contact
do
is hard.
The contact is hard. Exactly. Especially with a whole model. So that's very complicated. And in order to make that a little bit easier, a visual calculation has been created. And a visual calculation creates like measures, and it's not really a measure. It's more or less more like an extra column, like a calculated column. But it's in only the context of a specific visual where you create the measure. And it's very easy because it doesn't involve the whole model. It only involves the data, which is part of your visual, which would make it easier to get a calculation. So let me give you an example.
Yes, I would love to see.
Great. So I have two visualizations here. So for example, on the left side, I have my cost of goods sold and my sales, so products. So for example, what I can do, and I have it here, I can add a profit. I want a profit of those. So let's say I have the sales minus the costs, and let's say that's profit. What we actually have to do that is, if we here at the that's interesting. Here it is, just on the home screen. It's called a new calculation.
Okay.
So it's not a new visual calculation, it's a new calculation. So don't be confused about that. You just click on that. Your screen gets a little bit adjustment. And what you actually see now, and this is what it does for each visual you use, it splits it up in the visual you've created, and on the bottom part you actually have the data, because each visual always consists of data. It's just the basics of each visualization, and this is at the level of your visualization. So it's aggregated on the level of what you see in the visualization. So that's to make it easier. So for example, if I just want to have the profit of this one, I can just type in profit, and then I can just say, okay, that's sales, in this example, minus the cost of the goods sold.
Okay.
Just by doing that, I hit the enter, I get the profit. So I can actually use that in my visualization. So here I have a bar with the profit, and you can use some little formatting in order to make it a little bit more readable, and those kinds of things, like with overlaps and those kinds of things. So,
but this only exists in the visualization.
It's not that exists in a visualization.
Okay, so it's not that you can drag now that visual calculation into another visual.
No, it's not usable, fortunately. Well, maybe not, unfortunately, but for now it's just only here. You can see it actually over here. So we had the product, we had the cost of goods sold, and we had the sales in the initial visualization, and now it added here as you can see over here, the visual calculation of profit.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes you need, how do you say it, more data in order to get more measures. So you need other, how do you say it, other data. If you don't need that, you can hide that. So for instance, if you don't want to see those costs, you can actually hide it.
Yeah.
So it's just used in the background to create it. And it's something nice. You can also edit the calculation again if you think something should be a little bit different. So that is how this works, and you can use it for many visuals. For example, here we can add moving average. So we go over here. What we can actually do is if you go over here
and how to calculate a moving average.
Well, I don't. The Power BI does.
Yes.
So you just punch in the moving average. And it says, okay, give me a field name. So let's say I do it for sales. The window size is the number of rows it has to go up or down. So I think I have 16 rows here. So let's say I just do 16. I have to make sure sales is actually like that.
Yeah.
And then I punch it in, and then it gives me a moving average.
Wow.
And it's like the average of the last 16 months.
So
yeah, that's quite interesting. You can add more stuff. Profit, running sales, running cost. Yeah, those are kind of standard.
Nice.
Visualization, so the running sum of something. So you don't have to come up with it yourself if you don't like it. Running sum. Now let's first have the profit in this.
I like that. Yeah.
So that's basically what you can do. Sales. And we have a profit, and then you can create the running sum of the profit. As well. You have to take the one. So then you get all that kind of data, and you can. Again, if you say, okay, I want the running sum, but I don't want something. For example, what you can do is, okay, I don't take the running sum of the profit, but I do it of the sales. I get it there. I get a running sum for the costs. Oh, wait. That's and if I hide the rest of this, I just have only my running information about the running cost and running sum. You can visualize it here. So that's quite nice. So for simple basic DAX, it's a very interesting to use it, or for basic visualizations.
Okay. And now you had your business hat on. I'm going to put your admin hat on. What do you think of visual calculation?
Well, it depends the use case. I mean, usually my initial thought would be, okay, just create a measure you can use all over your model, which is reusable. But in some cases, and I know I have models where there are actually measures you just need for one visualization because it's very specific. And in those cases, I think it's quite all right maybe to use it. It at least has big performance advantages using this compared to the regular measures. So for a performance perspective, it's better to use this actually.
Okay.
But for reusability, I would still say, okay, if you have some basic information, just use regular measures.
Yeah.
There are some use cases to use this. On the other hand, it's just been released, so it's very limited in what you can do. So for example, if I don't want this bar chart like this, but I want it like vertical.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And what you cannot do is that you cannot put the profit from here into there or something like that. So it's all
really in the context of the visual.
Yeah, and what I wanted to do here.
I'm surprised that it's more performant. So, like, are people just really writing bad DAX measures then? That it's.
Yeah, I think as well, but I think also because the usual measure has to go over the whole model from the first aggregation, and here it's not really actually a measure.
Aggregated.
It's pre-aggregated. Yeah. And it's more like an extra column than it is really a measure. So it's more like a calculated column more in that sense than it really is a measure. So that's why it's better for performance. So I think we're done. These are most of the features.
Okay, so we discussed everything for it was Q1.
Q1.
We discussed Copilot.
Yeah.
Very curious about what's going to happen in that
sure.
field. They're really investing in Gen AI.
Yeah, so that's it's one of the last updates about Copilot, I think.
Yeah. And we saw the DAX query view.
Yeah.
Also Copilot enhanced.
Yeah. For sure.
You do need to learn that a little bit, but I think if you use it, then you're going to learn DAX pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think it's very good to start using that.
Yeah. And then the visual calculations, I really like those.
Yeah,
I'm gonna use that for
something to play around with. I think in the next.
I'm gonna have to rework my reports. I think for this.
Yeah. I have some reports myself in which I think, I might be better off using a visual calculation than an actual calculation. So very nice. So
okay.
What do you think is gonna happen next quarter? Build?
I'm hoping creating your whole semantic model in the Power BI service.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. So that's what I'm waiting for. And what are you waiting for?
Well, I agree with that. And I'm expecting a big bang for some reason for the Microsoft
Another big
build.
bang?
Well, not a big bang, but something
bigger.
big must come.
Medium-sized bang.
Medium-sized bang.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, the last couple of updates weren't that big, and the April update is already out there.
We didn't saving something.
Yeah, that's the feeling I get.
Yeah.
There's something coming, but
okay.
we have to see. One thing I have to mention, just show quickly, which is, I don't know if you noticed it, in your workspace, previously been released, actually April update, folders.
Hey!
Woo! Yeah, so now we can finally use folders. And I know at a company there are people who from day one just ask, why aren't there folders in Power BI? Well, 4 years later, here they are.
Yeah.
But
And it's for organizing, or is it for actually giving people access?
For now it's for organizing, because there's no folder access or something like that.
Okay.
Maybe that will come, but for now it's just
okay.
Just folders, just for organizing.
I like it. Yeah. I have a lot of artifacts on certain workspaces. Yeah,
you can drop a lot of stuff in there, and in some cases I know that people have been creating separate workspaces in order to service different groups.
But this is best practice also, right? So are we now going to just go a step away from the best practices? Because I also know that you're going to have more apps per workspace.
Yeah, that's coming as well.
So it feels like we're going to see a shift in best practices.
Yeah. I think so too. I think they want to get more into one workspace instead of divided over many workspaces.
I get it. Stop the maintenance otherwise.
Yeah, it's a lot of maintenance. On the other hand, if you look at like a governance perspective, workspace governance, then sometimes you see that one team takes over some reports from another team. Yeah. Then if it's in one workspace, it's easier to transfer it to another team than when it's all in one workspace and you have to actually get the reports out of the workspace and put it in some other workspace, but okay. I think it's interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see what's going to happen in that field.
Yeah. So.
Do we also need to do a little promotion?
Maybe a little bit of a small promotion. It's for the Dutch native Dutch speakers because we make a podcast.
We have a podcast, the Power Hour podcast.
Yeah. And it's very nice. We talk about all kinds of topics of Power BI. What did we talk about already? I think premium.
We talked about premium. We talked about,
Top of the iceberg.
And the best and the worst features.
Oh, yeah, we had that.
We talked about that. Like everything that you can imagine Power BI related. Yeah.
In between platforms.
It's
still Power platform.
Yeah.
Not? Yeah.
It's all in Dutch. It's, not technical at all, I think.
No.
Well, that's me saying.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I had some family listen to it. They say, well, it gets a little technical at some point. But I mean, that's not. Yeah.
We do our best to keep it like low threshold.
Yeah. So it's not very in-depth technical. So okay. A little bit of promotion. I think that's good. Yeah, so people can listen to that. And I think that sums up for now our quarterly update.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone.
Next quarter.
Thank you, Daan,
Thank you
for
as well.
assessing all these functionalities.
Yeah, same for you, and
Yeah.
big deep dive into Copilot. Very impressive. So that's nice. So yeah, maybe we should keep it up, and it's a lot more cozy to do it together instead of from the basement on
Yeah.
on a crappy webcam and
Or my crappy Wi-Fi.
Yeah, crappy Wi-Fi. So yeah, maybe.
Cat in the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, those kind of things. So I guess it can happen. Okay, well, other questions, the lines are open. And if not, then thanks for attending.
Thank you.
And then we hope to see you next quarter.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.